the end of this assignment, 3 of these 4 special agents will have been eliminated by alien intelligence. By the end of this assignment, only one will have fulfilled his mission to become the Master Spy. With Jenny Lee Wright as the inscrutable Miss Moneypacker, here now is the man in control, your resident spy master, William Franklyn.
Good evening. If you'd bought this bottle of 1961 Haute Medoc, it would have cost you a fortune. If you'd drunk it, it would have cost you your life. It's been poisoned. Terrorism has taken a twist of late, so our 4 special agents assigned to tonight's mission will need a taste for wine and a taste for danger. Moneypacker, could we have the first agent in for screening?
Certainly, Major. Agent John Uganda is Ugandan. He's 40, single. He's also a writer and a businessman, and he's at present staying in London.
Hello again. Good to have you with us at the department.
Thank you, Major.
Now, your background is interesting. Businessman, poet,
yes,
and occasional opening bowler for the East African side in the Prudential Cup. That's quite an interesting background.
Thank you.
Would you like to elaborate any particulars?
Well, my mother wanted me to have a varied career,
Yes.
so that if I couldn't make it as a poet, I could make it as a bowler.
Did she believe in your poetry slightly less than your bowling?
Yes,
For what reason?
because it was worse or better.
Yes, that seems very reasonable. Tell me about your poetry. Do you happen to have any couplets just hanging on the end of your tongue?
Are you paying?
The department, I'm sure, will have something in their petty cash for this eventuality.
Let me think about it, Major.
All right, if later on a couplet does return to your mind, throw it at us.
Thank you.
All right, what about the business side of it? You're not getting off totally, you know.
About 10 years ago, I used to think that a tea planter was a low form of life.
Yes,
I'm now a tea planter.
I see. And a fast bowler.
And fast bowler.
Still in your prime or fading?
Fading.
I see. I know the feeling, because I've been there
Yes,
too.
yes.
Now, I want you to imagine that you're dining with your boss. He makes his own wine. He's rather proud of it. Yes, I'm afraid so. He has some Maison Weybridge, which he produces, uncorks it and pours you a glass. He offers it to you, and it is absolutely awful. What are you going to say?
I'd look him straight in the eye, and I'd say, I resign.
That is the kind of honesty we respect.
Thank you.
You could get your throat cut, but nevertheless we respect it. Now, from politics of business to the business of politics, here's something to test your mental alertness. There's 4 barrels in front of you which contain, shall we say, wine. I want you to place them in their date order, with the oldest wine at that end and the youngest wine at that end. You may touch any 2 barrels, but you may not touch this one. Now, I'd like you to have a look at the barrels closely. Look at the significance of the figures, for instance, which may help you to decide. Do you see anything significant about the figures?
Yes.
That's what?
Do you want me to do it now?
You do it now, by all means, because you may... Excellent.
Thank you.
Excellent. Would you return to the briefing bay over there?
Agent Elizabeth Meriker was born in Manchester. She's 26, single, and works in international banking in the city.
Meriker, good to see you here. It's an unusual name, Meriker. Do you have a Greek father?
Yes, but the name isn't Greek.
What is it?
Well, we think it's possibly Venetian.
Well, you are something in the city, and you have an extraordinary occupation. You sell Euro bonds.
That's correct.
Well, we in the department who have very lowly salaries, of course, can't afford luxuries like bonds of any sort. What actually is a bond?
A bond is a way of raising money, which is evidenced by bonds, pieces of paper, bearer documents in this case.
It
So
sounds
say
like a
bear-
circle, actually, to which there's no answer.
Exactly.
I see. Who are the people who raise the money? Could I raise money through a bond?
No,
Why not, may I ask?
I don't think your credit would be good enough.
Thank you. I see. I must say that in Bulgaria, they think very highly of me. Nevertheless, I'm going to give you something, a little problem for you. Imagine that you're sailing single-handed across the Bay of Biscay. You're going across the international lane, shipping lanes, and you see a couple in a dinghy rowing. You're not sure whether they need help, but being altruistic by nature, you go over towards them, you ask them if they need help, and they ask to be taken aboard. After they've been aboard a few moments, they ask you to marry them. Being the captain of your own ship, you are empowered to do that. What is your reaction?
Well, I'd be a very new captain, and I wouldn't be sure that I was, in fact, empowered to marry them.
I see. So what would you do? Throw them back in the sea?
No, I think I'd keep them aboard, take
Yeah.
them to where I was going, and but I wouldn't marry them.
I see. All right. Well, another problem to test your ingenuity. There are 4 barrels in front of you. Now, I want you to assume they're, for the sake of argument, full of wine. I want you to place them in their date order, with that being the oldest wine, that being the youngest wine. You may touch any 2 barrels, but you may not touch this one. Look at them. See if you see anything significant in the dates, for instance, the numbers.
Right, so you want them placed in date order,
I want it placed in date order with the oldest one there and the youngest one there.
but I'm only to move
2 and not that one.
right.
The significance of the dates, the numbers. Time is of the essence now. Yes, go ahead. Don't think that quite does it? Because we've got a 1981 wine as the at this end, and
Sorry.
I'm afraid those grapes haven't grown.
I thought that was 13, honestly,
You thought that was 13, honestly? I'm terribly...
because of the chip there, but
Oh, there's a chip in the 9 which made it look like 13.
it's my story.
I like the actual thinking behind that. It might even be worth a mark, but had you done
Turn them
that...
upside down.
Had you done that, I like that answer. Would you like to join your colleague in the briefing bay?
Agent Keith Miller is a 37-year-old electrical engineer. He lives in Carshalton in Surrey, and he's married with 2 children.
Now, Miller, you've been a previous devious double agent for us, haven't you?
That's right, Major.
Appearing, as it were, on the other side. You're a Scorpio. Would you say that was appropriate to espionage?
I would think so.
Yes, there's supposed to be a deviousness, both honourable and dishonourable, in the element of Scorpio, so they say. Now, you play golf. What's your handicap?
18.
Yes, well, we might get around together. You'll excuse the phrase. Travel. Where do you actually travel most? Where have you travelled recently?
Egypt, Cairo,
Yes.
in particular.
Shepherds or
The Hilton.
the Hilton? The
Yes.
pool's good there, isn't it?
Yes, very nice.
Tennis is not bad. In what situation can you imagine that your nerve would break?
I would think being confined somewhere where there was, which was completely sound absorbent, so you had no sound at all. And
So you were
couldn't-
unaware. There was total stillness.
Total stillness.
Yes, I think that's very good. Quite terrifying, in fact. Well, now, here's something which I hope you'll find slightly less terrifying. It's a test to... I want you to arrange those 4 barrels in their date order, with the oldest wine at that end and the youngest wine at that end. So that would be the earliest date, that would be the latest date. You may touch any 2 barrels but that one. Have you got that?
That's
Let's
the
see if-
oldest at that end.
The oldest, the youngest there. See if there's anything significant in the numbers, for instance, that helps you. Keep going. Go on. Yes, indeed. You've made it. That's exactly it. 1681, 1861, 1881, 1961. Would you like to join your colleagues in the briefing?
Agent Ruth Butler is a housewife. She was born in Whitchurch in Salop, but she now lives in London, and she has a baby daughter.
Hello, Butler. Good to have you with us. Cancerian, actually, by birth. You're working at Open University on a social science degree.
That's true.
Now, tell me, do you think it's easier to work out of the discipline of a classroom?
I quite enjoy working on my own, working when I like, stopping when I like. It's fine.
Yeah, what actually, social science is a phrase one hears, but one doesn't really know specifically what it is. What actually is it?
Well, I'd like to know what makes people tick, try and make sense of this world. I don't know whether I'll get an answer, but it's worth trying.
And how does the social science takes you into what areas?
Psychology, communication, why people work. There are all sorts of facets.
And why people don't work, presumably.
Indeed, yes.
Yes. Now, I want you to imagine that you're in Singapore on a departmental mission and you get taken by the opposition, for the sake of argument. You write home, you're made to write home, that everything is well, that life is good, but you put something in that letter which would only tell your people at home that things were not good. What would you put into the letter that would appear innocent to your captors?
Oh, Mother, I'm looking forward to some tripe and onions.
She knows that that's your favorite hate, is that right?
Indeed,
I
yes.
see. Well, here's something to test your ingenuity. There are 4 barrels there. I'd like you to put them in their date order, that being the oldest.
Right.
That being the youngest. In other words, that's the latest date, that is the earliest date. You may move any 2 barrels, but you may not move this barrel. Now have a look and see if there's anything significant about those dates, those numbers. No, the unfortunate thing about that one, where it is that grape hasn't started growing yet, because that's 1981. Bring it back to where it was. Are you intending to steal off with that? Are you waiting for it to grow? I see. Well, I'm afraid no. You have actually. There is, in fact, what they say is a simple conclusion. It's not necessarily that simple. Would you like to join your colleagues back in the briefing bay? I would like to tell you that the significance of that particular test will occur later. Everything that happens from now on will have its repeating values. And now to tonight's assignment. The Chateau de Galais has been renowned for its claret ever since the days that Napoleon toasted the beauty of Josephine. This year does not promise to be one of the best years. I'd like you to meet Mario Valdaccini. He's head of Anarchy International's European network, a man small in stature but dynamic in his deviousness. 3 days ago, he arrived at the Chateau and made an offer the owner could barely refuse. He'd kidnapped the owner's wife and daughter, filled the cellars with high explosive, and threatened to reduce the Chateau to a pile of rubble. The motive for this could be contained in this list. It contains 27 names of distinguished diplomats who receive, as a tradition, a bottle of 61 Haute Medoc on Bastille Day, or by infecting the wine with a newly discovered poison, which is indefinable to the palate. Anarchy International decided this was to be their last Bastille Day. Your mission is twofold: to trace the wine and release the wife and daughter from their captivity. Moneypacker will fill you in with the details of your cover story.
Thank you, Major. In order to gain access to the chateau, you will each assume the covering role of wine importers. If you have spent the last 2 weeks wisely, you will have made a close study of your subject. We must now preempt the possibility of your cover being broken by a process of subjective interrogation. Agent Uganda, you're the first for the wine rack.
Uganda, 5 questions to be answered at speed. Even if you give the wrong answer, you will be marked for unshakable confidence, so that bluff does count. Are you quite ready and relaxed?
Ready, Major.
Why should wines be kept in the dark?
Because the light interferes with the coloring.
Absolutely correct. What was 1963 like for champagne?
Medium
Medium.
to average.
Yes, fair. I'll pass that. If you were importing Chateau de Pape, which French region would it come from?
Medoc.
No, Rhone. How much does a Madeira peep hold?
92 gallons.
That is absolutely correct. And your final question, what's the name of the Japanese wine made from rice?
Sake.
Correct.
Agent Ngenda has scored 20 out of a possible 25, plus 1 for confidence, which is a total of 21.
America, would you take the chair? Right, America. Relaxed.
Yep.
What besides alcohol gives the wine the characteristic called body?
Tannin.
Correct. And if a wine is too strong in tannin, what would it taste like?
Heavy and bitter.
Correct. Where would you import a Grinsling from?
Austria.
Correct. What was 1947 like for white Bordeaux?
It was a vintage year.
That is absolutely correct. And your final question, as an importer, you've been lumbered with a case of unlabeled bottles, which are long, thin, cylindrical, and red brick in color. What would be your educated guess as to the wine?
Hock.
Correct.
Agent America has scored 25 out of a possible 25.
Miller, take the chair, will you? Right, Miller.
Yes, Major.
It's a sunny day. And what kind of wine is a Chablis?
Chablis is a white wine.
A white what, though?
It's a Burgundy
That is correct. From where would you import Muscatel?
from California.
Correct. What was 41 like for red Burgundy?
It was the worst year.
No, it was a poor year, which is slightly better than the worst year. As a connoisseur, what would you choose to drink with grouse?
Fine claret.
Correct. If you heard that Pedro Ximenez was being hard-pressed for money, why wouldn't you think it such a tragedy?
Because it's a sweet Spanish grape.
Absolutely correct.
Agent Miller has scored 20 out of a possible 25, plus 1 for confidence, which is a total of 21.
Butler, will you take the chair, please? All right, Butler.
Ready, Major.
If a wine tastes flat or flabby, what's wrong with it?
It hasn't enough acid.
Correct. The main enemy of the wine cork is the weevil. What's the main enemy of the weevil?
Oh, dry conditions.
No, I'm afraid the opposite, the damp. What kind of year was 1932 for claret?
It was a poor year.
How poor? It's quite important in the grading of wines.
I think it was the worst year.
Yes, indeed, it was one of the worst years. Being a connoisseur, you'd probably drink a bottle of Muscadet with your fish and chips. Where does Muscadet come from?
Muscadet is a wine from the Loire.
Yes, and I'm sure you don't drink it with fish and chips, do you?
Drink it all the time.
Oh, do you? Which country exports Vinos Verdes?
That's Portugal.
Absolutely correct.
Agent Butler has scored 20 out of a possible 25, plus 1 for confidence, which is a total rating of 21.
Would you like to return, join your colleagues back in the briefing bay? Well, you've managed to come through the interrogation very well. Let's see how you stand up under a rather more subtle approach. Moneypacker?
Thank you, Major. Our informant inside Annick International has managed to leak some vital information. He's discovered that there are only 2 bottles of the doctored wine left in the Chateau's wine cellar. A clue to where they are located is contained in this message. Now, for the safety of our informant, it's imperative that not one word of that message is divulged to anyone. So now I want to give a little mental test to see how good you are at keeping secrets. I'm going to break down the message and give you each one word in turn that you must not say to anyone. See how you get on with this word association test. I want you to give me the first answer that comes into your mind, but as quickly as possible. So, Agent Ngenda, your word that you mustn't say is this one. Heavy.
Groovy.
Fire.
Hearth.
Dark.
Interesting.
Not bad, a little slow, but that's not bad. Okay, Agent America, your taboo word is... Under.
Above.
Turn.
Right.
Move.
Left.
Okay. Agent Miller, your word that you mustn't say. Left.
Hand.
Wrong.
Answer.
Read.
Learn.
Which one was it?
Learn.
Learn. Okay, fine. Agent Butler, your word is obviously top.
Below.
Flat.
Round.
Babies.
Nappies.
Okay, that's very good. You've all managed to come through that quite smartly, actually. At this very critical stage in our mission, I can see that our leading agent is Agent Miller with 35. Next, we have Agent Uganda with 33. Then Agent America has 29. And that sound tells me that Agent Butler with 27 must be eliminated from tonight's assignment.
Well, Butler, I'm sorry that we're going to lose such a sparkling, full-bodied wine at this stage.
Thank you, Major.
If you'd like to report to Money Package, you'll see that your devotion to duty to the department does not go unrewarded.
Thank you.
Agent Butler, the department would like to accept the superb pair of binoculars, which has a built-in transistor radio. So while you're looking at the races at Ascot, you can listen to the commentary at Sandown or wherever you like. Thank you for coming on the mission.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
3 agents left to complete the mission. Before they can go into the field, they must penetrate the disguise of this well-known undercover agent. If you think you know who it is, keep it yourself for a couple of minutes when we'll return with this assignment of the Masterspy. When an undercover agent has an eminent face, it's necessary to adopt an elaborate disguise. In this case, we're going to test our 3 surviving agents' penetrative powers to see if they can identify Agent X. Good evening, Agent X.
Good evening, Major.
You have 30 seconds to ask any questions you like. Every time you get an affirmative to your question, you'll get a bonus point. If you get the right person, you'll get 5 points. You give me the wrong person, and you'll lose 5 points. Right? She's all yours.
Are you in television?
Yes.
Drama?
No, my dear.
Are you,
Light entertainment?
No.
are you, with all due respects, over 40 years old?
Over 40 years, yes. Don't I look it?
No, you don't.
Oh,
Are you under 60 years old?
yes.
Keep the
Are
questions
you a
going.
brunette?
Sort of, yes.
Well, so far, our apparent veteran agent has shown a pair of clean heels to our young contenders. When you hear her filmed intelligence report, if you recognize the voice, keep it to yourself. I'll give you a chance after to score your 5 points. I want you to turn around, face the screen, listen and watch everything very carefully.
Even on a dull, grey morning, the Chateau de Galais, with its old Norman church nearby, reveals a rugged charm equal to the claims in the French travel brochures. I'll admit that the best views aren't to be seen peering through the railings in the outside wall, but then I wasn't here to photograph its architectural beauty. My surveillance had started at dawn, but it was 12 before I saw signs of life. The man looked desperate and distraught, and with good reason. This is Monsieur Galais. I'd met him with his family only 3 months previously on a wine tasting tour up the Gironde River. He'd aged considerably, but then having Mario Valdichini as a non-paying guest would put years on anybody. Playing hide-and-seek with an empty bottle was a game for which Valdichini had little spirit. With a touch of sour grapes entering the conversation, I decided to take a closer look at that bottle. As I suspected, the captive winemaker had written a plea for help and was trying to pitch the bottle over the chateau wall. Mario was about to suggest a game of Russian roulette when there was a timely distraction. My first thought was that a party of tourists had mistaken the chateau grounds for a campsite. There are several sites in this region, the nearest being 2 kilometers upriver. My brain was working feverishly, trying to turn the incident to some advantage. But I should have known better. The British number plate and the GB sign were examples of Anarchy International's attention to detail. I was about to witness a transfer of hostages. First out of the camping van came Madame Galais, followed by her daughter Yvette. Relief for Monsieur Galais was short-lived, and from my knowledge of Italian, the best I can tell you is that Valdoccini threatens them with a long stay in the Chateau's wine cellar. But my stay was over. I'd stumbled upon a hornet's nest, or something not too dissimilar.
Right, would you turn and face this way? When I drop my hand, if any of you think you recognize the voice, you may say it.
Angela Rippon.
No. Anyone else got it? No, we have won. You have given such a brilliant characterization, Judith Chalmers. Would you like to remove your hat and glasses? It is a much younger creature than you imagined, Uganda. Yes. Now, on one of your assignments, you had a similar situation, the kind of problems that we meet. Would you like to tell us about it?
We were covering a party political conference, Bill, and for a little light relief amongst all the politicians, we decided to ask the curator of the local zoo in.
How appropriate.
Absolutely, to talk about animal antics as if there weren't enough, you know. So he had this bat hanging upside down on a stick. We went on the air, the on-air light went on, the lights came up immediately. The poor old bat, hanging peacefully upside down, looked around at these bored politicians and the lights and decided the best place for him was underneath my skirts.
How long did that happen? You were seen running, presumably, for some miles.
I screeched and he just clung and flapped his wings. It was terrible.
Well, thank you very much for your dealing with your assignment so well tonight.
Thank you, Major.
Bye. Oh, yes, indeed, there are strange happenings in the department. And you'd better believe it. Nagenda, what time did Monsieur Galais appear?
12:20.
Correct. When Monsieur Galais was hiding the bottle behind his back, which hand did he show empty first?
Left.
No, the right, meaning you were incorrect. How far away was the nearest campsite?
2 kilometers upriver.
That is absolutely correct. America, how long had it been since Agent X had seen the Galais family?
3 months.
Correct. The Norman church adjacent to the chateau, did it have a spire or a tower?
Tell us why.
It had both. And your final question, what was the last object seen on the film?
The railings.
A beehive was the final one. Miller, what was Galais' daughter's name?
Angelica.
No, it was Yvette. Who was the last out of the van?
One of the people holding them hostage.
What was his name? No, I'm afraid it's Valdoccini. In which pocket did Valdoccini keep his gun?
In his right pocket.
No, he kept it tucked down the top of his trousers. Now for some further briefing. Moneypacker.
Thank you, Major. Would you all come and join me at the table? And listen carefully. Now, we know from previous encounters with hostages that explosives are always near at hand. So wherever Madame Galais and her daughter are being held, one of these crude but devastating bomb devices won't be far away. Now, you'll know when the bomb is activated because you'll hear ticking. How long the ticking lasts depends on the clock setting. But the important thing to remember is that when it stops ticking, you have 10 seconds before it blows up. So, while it's ticking, you have time to decide which wire to cut. As soon as it stops ticking, you have only 10 seconds to cut that wire. Now you'll see that the bomb has 2 circuits. They are joined by only one bridging wire. Cut the bridging wire, and this light will go out, and your bomb will be deactivated. If you cut another wire, good luck. Now then, here are your wire cutters. I'd like to take up your wire cutters. I'm going to activate the bombs. Have you understood all the instructions? Good. I'm going to activate the bombs like so. Now they're ticking. Now you have plenty of time to decide which is that bridging wire. It's when the ticking stops that you've got to cut and make a decision, because if you don't cut, it will explode anyway. If you cut the wrong one, will still explode. You've got to find that bridging wire. I hope you're working it out, because I'm getting ready to run if you haven't. Okay, you've got 10 seconds. Cut your bridging wire. Please. isn't it? Agent Uganda, you were totally correct. I know how you feel. I know just how you feel. You were totally correct also, so you've improved your rating by 10. Agent Miller, you also totally correct. So I'll just explain for Agent America exactly what the situation was. The bomb has 2 circuits, right? Mm-hmm. And you'll see that into each terminal go 2 wires. But in these 2 terminals, you have 3 wires. So the 3rd wire, this one, was the bridging wire, and that's the one you should have cut. Okay, Major, over to you.
Well, Moneypacker, I'd like to congratulate you for keeping your circuits uncrossed during that heavy fire. Perhaps you'd give us the latest readout of the ratings.
We have in the lead at the moment Agent Uganda with 54. Agent Miller has 41. And that sound tells me, unfortunately, that Agent America with 35 must be eliminated from tonight's assignment.
America, congratulations for having come so far with such tough opposition and doing so well. The department would like to show its appreciation for your loyalty. If you report to Moneypacker, I think you'll realize that your journey's been worthwhile.
Agent America, the department would like you to accept this rather superb, high-quality radio, and it's got a built-in cassette. And we do hope you'll have many hours enjoying it. Thank you for coming on the mission.
Now, we have 2 agents left to complete the mission, and the security of this country could well depend on it. For your eyes only, read and inwardly digest, and good luck to both of you. Right, Moneypacker, let's see how our agents are doing.
Very well. They had a little trouble in getting into the wine cellar, but they're right on course now, and they should just be coming down into it now.
Control to Grapevine. Latest intelligence reports confirm that the 2 ladies are in that cellar somewhere, but your first job is to locate the wine.
Agent Uganda, you have the highest current rating, so the option to proceed is yours. If you make a mistake or falter, we shall stop you, and Agent Miller will take over. So, Uganda, it's you first.
You're now clear to complete your mission. Describe your actions as you proceed.
I'm looking for a wine, 2 bottles of wine which are poisoned. The year is 1961.
Correct.
I could find out by tasting more of the wine than I need to, but I could be poisoned.
Yes, you could take 3 years as well to get through
There were
that
2
lot.
Medoc bottles, which I see here.
Yes, you have selected. Why did you select those?
Because that was the clue earlier on.
Yes,
Major.
quite. Absolutely
It's
correct.
actually hot Medoc.
Yep.
I take them to the center.
Yes, and what do you
Table.
do? What do you do now?
I put them down.
Yes, having put them down, which is incredibly interesting, what do you do next?
I shall look at them.
Having looked at them, which is incredibly dull, what will you do?
I shall look very intelligent. And fail.
You are breeding apathy back at control. Carry on with the mission.
Agent Miller, can you take over, please?
The next action is to try and find the captives.
Right.
From previous intelligence, we're led to believe that there is some significance with the barrels.
Mm-hmm.
What is the significance?
It is to do with the location, or the order of the barrels, but I cannot...
Right, take over, Uganda.
I think being an agent is difficult.
Up to now, you've both shown an intelligence which has totally deserted you.
Ah.
Yes, got it.
There's something you can do with 3 of those barrels that you can't do with the other 1.
You can't turn that over.
Right, okay, thank you. Now will you do something with it?
Thank you, Major. I'm going to break it.
Go on. Go on. You throw that away, do something with the barrel. Yep. Push it, that's it. Right, now what have you seen?
I must pull.
Right, well, do something with it.
I'm pulling.
What have you got?
I've got a piece of string.
Well, do something. What do you normally do with a piece of string?
I break off the thing that says pull.
I see. It does seem that you pulled a little too hard.
I can't help my strength, Major.
Miller, take over, see if you can do anything.
Ah. Now then, take that bomb to the center of the table. Take it to the table because be careful.
Right, now what are you going to do?
Have time to find... Correct.
Right.
Deactivate the bomb.
Now, what are you going to do now?
Trying to find the hostages, Major. Come out.
Bring them out. Now, what are you going to do?
Well, it is now time to get them away from the chateau.
Right, well, make your move.
Come this way.
Stop. I'm afraid you have missed an essential thing. Take over Uganda.
Wine.
What did you say? Speak up, I
I
can't
wonder
hear.
whether they want some poisoned wine.
That's right, well, go on. Right. Return to base. Exactly that.
Agent Miller, we're sorry you stumbled at the last fence. And if you'd like to look under the sacking, you'll find something to reward your efforts. It's a beautifully designed drinks trolley, which not only includes a large capacity for ice, but you also have plenty of room for your glasses and anything else you might like to put in it. Thank you and our best wishes.
Well, Uganda, after an inspired 800 meters, there were about 50 meters when we thought you'd never drag yourself across the line.
So did I, Major.
But you have earned the title of Masterspy. Moneypacker, I think, has something to offer you.
And also the department would like to give you this bottle of wine, but that's just a little sample, a taster to whet your appetite of what you're going to have. Inside here are tickets for two and reservations for a trip to the French vineyards. You'll visit Paris for one night, you go to Chablais, Bon, Dijon, all the beautiful places. You'll have plenty of time to eat superfood and lots of wine tasting. We hope you enjoyed this mission.
Thank you, my friend.
Pleasure.
And thank you very much for being with us. It only remains for me to say we hope you'll join us again in the near future in another assignment of The Master Spy.